So we made it past the half point or mark. We went through the training camp and the 6 first arenas, and now it's time for the 7th arena, the Royal Arena. And the first card in the Royal Arena that we are gonna talk about is the Royal Giant. It's a common card. It costs 6 elixir. This card is pretty amazing. It's a common card, so you will be able to really fast get it in high and high and eventually into max level because it's common, so it's easier to level it up. Also, it's a very strong, just single win condition. So if you just support the Royal Giant well, it is close to being insane. I really dislike to play against it, and if I made a new deck, I would definitely start collecting this bad boy right away, because he just does so much damage and his range is pretty good now. I wouldn't say he's broken. He's a little bit above average in win rate, so therefore he is I'm gonna rate the Royal Giant as 4. Because I thought before I looked at the statistics throughout the last couple of months that he was definitely a 5, but I will rate him as 4. Solid card, very good win condition. So when you hit the 7th arena, it's very much worth considering to swap him in for another win condition. And now we're gonna move on to the second common card in this arena, which is the Royal Guards. So the Royal Guards, when they came into the game and introduced, they cost only 6 elixir. They were crazy, they were broken. Now they cost 7 elixir, and it's quite incredible to see what much a different it can be when they change elixir cost on the cards. We're gonna talk a little bit later in the future in another arena about the Fisherman, what difference it made that they took the card from 4 to 3. Yes, so they took the Royal Giants and raised the cost from 6 to 7 elixir, and now it is pretty garbage. It is doing okay in some drafts, but this video is really focused on laddering and which cards to pick up while laddering. So I will definitely give the Royal Guards and his friends a rating of 1. It's a 1 card because it does very terrible on ladder. It's expensive and easy to counter. So yep, maybe try to stay clear of the Royal Giants, Royal Guards, I mean, of course. So heading on to another terrible card. We just hit it into the 2 rare cards, and the first rare card is the spell called Healing. And as I already mentioned, it is terrible. It only costs 1. That is the only upside to the card, because you might consider use it in a cycle deck, but besides that, they try to rework it a little bit a couple months ago, but it still just do terrible. It's the card with the lowest win rate and pretty much the lowest usage rate as well, just because it's so garbage. So stay clear of the healing spell for 1. Yes, it sucks. So the next rare card is the 3 Musketeers. So they have been changed a little bit recently. They cost 9 now. They used to cost 10, and then they were pretty useless. Now they can, in some situation, be useful, but they don't fit into many decks because of their high elixir cost. And I just think there are some other stronger kind of win condition-ish cards. I know they're kind of a support card to win conditions, but the elixir cost making them so expensive makes this card kind of also a high risk, high reward card. and it is below 50% win rate on ladder in the legendary arena. So I would not recommend this card, but for some that find them interesting, of course, play with them. I will rate the 3 Musketeers 2 because they are not like totally useful, useless, as I said, and can be useful, but not the card that I would start gathering as a new player. Heading into the epic cards. So the skeleton guards. The skeleton guards are 3 skeletons that has a shield that absorb a lot of damage. That mechanic makes these 3 skeleton guards super good. The fact that none of the small spells kills them. I know they do a little less damage, of course, compared to the skeleton army and the goblin gang, but the fact that they don't die to lock or any of the small spells just makes this a very, very good defensive card. And also, if their shield hasn't been knocked off, they can do a little bit of tower damage as well. So a card that's really popular now, starting to get more and more popular, has a really, really high win rate of top of most of the epic cards. I will give this a very, very high rating of 4. They're super good. I swapped them into my main deck a little while ago instead of the skeleton army. But of course, trying to be objective, I've been looking at the statistics, and as I said, they are way up there. So skeleton guards, they are very good. Next epic card is the Prince. So the Prince, the Dark Prince, as he's called, not the Prince, the Dark Prince, he charges as well, does a lot of charge damage. He has a shield just as the skeleton guards have, which makes it a very nice for burst damage defense. This card as a burst damage, and also because of the Valkyrie got a little bit nerfed, he just doing super well now. He was actually recently nerfed just a little bit. Didn't make a huge difference, but still not as strong. But very, very good card, pretty good win rates, and is a solid 4 card, I would say, a 4 rating. His elixir cost is also 4, and he just works in pretty much every deck now, which also kind of makes him maybe tip a little bit over to a higher rating. But now, because of the nerf, I think he's a 4 and does really well in bridge spam decks, but in a lot of decks he's useful. So definitely a card, an epic card that's worth picking up. And heading over to the legendary cards in this arena, the Princess. So the Princess is has the longest range of any cards in this game and does AoE damage. She can actually stand at your side of the river and hit the opponent's tower. She is a very strong legendary card just in herself, and the fact that the types of deck called lock baits, where she's kind of a very important card in that type of deck, and that type of deck has such a high win rate and is so it's a very strong deck. And the Princess in other decks does okay as well. Her win rate is pretty high, one of the top legendary win rates as well, and has been for the several months. So therefore she is a 4. Also could be argued that she could be a 5, but she is though very, very hard counted by the lock, and that's hence why the lock bait is a very interesting deck, and why she fits so well into those kind of decks. And of course, in another video about maybe lock bait, we can talk a little bit more, but a solid and strong 4 rated card. Heading into the next and last card of this arena is the Mega Knight. The Mega Knight was my second legendary card I got in my main deck. A super fun card to play with, very, very popular card. But not the best win rates besides these couple past weeks. Ever since the P.E.K.K.A got nerfed, the Mega Knight kind of got way better. He's always been popular because he's fun to play, but his win rates has improved as well now. So I love this card, but I would rate it earlier as a 2, but now because of the events of the couple past weeks, he's doing very well. I would say that he is a 3 and seems pretty balanced in the current meta. The reason why I don't think he's like insane is because that his spawn damage is such a situational part of him. It's amazing if you just boom spawn in on top of like 10 or cards that total have a 10 cost elixir, and you just win the game. But in some games and against some certain decks, you can never really like get like that spawn damage or jump damage, which is really the essence of the card, put it into good use, and then it just feels like a golem, a P.E.K.K.A, or other chunkier cards would do a lot better than the Mega Knight. So therefore he has his very, very good parts of him, but also sometimes doesn't feel very useful. So therefore the Mega Knight is a 3 card at the moment. So that was the end of the 7th arena. Some very poor cards and some very good cards, and we'll move on to my next videos.